Many extraordinary things happened to Jiang Chen, starting from the unfortunate incident that happened to him. Jiang Chen was tied to a chair by a beautiful blonde woman. Jiang Chen asked the woman what she wanted from him. The woman asked Jiang Chen what his name was and why he came here. After Jiang Chen said his name, the woman insulted his name. She thinks it's a very ugly name, like a woman's name. Jiang Chen explained that his mother gave him that name because he was born in the morning, and how could it be a woman's name? Other people said he had a good name. Chen described his perfection and good looks. Suddenly the woman stepped on a chair in the middle of his crotch and scared Jiang Chen to death. She said that he talked too much. She wasn't interested in his mother, but she was the one who asked him first about his name. Jiang Chen explained that his family only had one son in each family, and he was the 9th generation. Was this woman trying to end his family? According to the woman, Jiang Chen had a grumpy nature. She asked him to answer what she asked him. If he dares to lie and bluff again, she will crush his baby maker. The woman asked who Jiang Chen was because she had never seen Jiang Chen in Wanghai City. Then Jiang Chen lied and said that he was from the north. Then the woman finds a soda can on Jiang Chen's shirt. She asked him how he got this can of soda. She drank the soda and he explained that it was a soft drink. The woman called Jiang Chen stupid. She also knows what soft drinks are. She just asked where Jiang Chen got it from. Jiang Chen couldn't explain it to her. Then the woman stepped back on the chair in the middle of Jiang Chen's crotch and forced him to tell her. Jiang Chen also asked to be beaten instead of scaring his baby maker. The woman immediately took out her gun and pointed it at Jiang Chen's head. She said if Jiang Chen thought he was afraid to kill her, and she would grant his request. Jiang Chen was scared and felt that she wouldn't do it. He screamed and said how could he treat his savior like this. Then the woman put the gun back in her pants pocket. Jiang Chen tried to convince the woman that he was not a bad person and that he had no ill intentions towards her. The woman asked if Jiang Chen was one of the friends from the northern Lion Tong sector. Jiang Chen explained that he came from somewhere richer. He was collecting something for someone, and he could take extras like cans of soda that he'd already drunk and that he liked. The woman was starving and Jiang Chen was helping her. If he wanted to say something unnecessary, he thought and he would suffer for it. That woman didn't know what she wanted from this place. All the supermarkets and food storage had been cleared out. Even the local refrigerators had been taken. She wouldn't even find a loaf of bread. Jiang Chen invited the woman to cooperate. He had just arrived here. How about she be his guide and provide clues for him? And Jiang Chen would give her an expensive gift. The woman asked what gift he would give her. Then Jiang Chen told her to take something out of his pocket. It was a carrot. Jiang Chen wanted to give it to her as a gift for her. She had never seen such a fresh vegetable before. Jiang Chen replied that he had a lot of fresh vegetables. The woman was very happy to hear his words. Jiang Chen asked about their agreement, if she had decided on it. And Jiang Chen still doesn't know her name. The woman said her name was Sun Jiao. Sun Jiao puts his gun to Jiang Chen's head again. She wanted to make sure of something first. If this was a strange partnership, then she would put a hole in Jiang Chen's head at any time. Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao to trust him. He needed an experienced guide. Then did Sun Jiao really think that he lacked food? Sun Jiao asked if what he needed was a slave. Jiang Chen said that if he didn't need slaves, what he needed was technology. Just like the laser gun and the computer in his hand. Jiang Chen had that kind of thing. But he couldn't produce them himself, so he decided to come to this abandoned city to look for some old technology. Sun Jiao asked if these things were really that hard to make. Though many people in Luding City can assemble this thing, and Sun Jiao is convinced that Jiang Chen is lying. Jiang Chen immediately panicked, but he tried to explain back to Sun Jiao that this was just an example. His technology excels in food production and resource management. But he was a little behind in technology, and this was also one of the reasons he had to come to this place. Jiang Chen felt his lie was so good he could believe it. Sun Jiao didn't care about Jiang Chen's explanation, so he wanted to talk about his fee. Jiang Chen panicked. He didn't know the currency in this world. Then he asked Sun Jiao what kind of fee he wanted. Then Sun Jiao replied that he wanted a Type-C battery, food, and crystal. But he personally chose food. Sun Jiao asked if Jiang Chen had canned chicken curry, but Jiang Chen didn't have it. Sun Jiao was suspicious of Jiang Chen, as if he was trying to trick him. Sun Jiao felt there was no other way. Then he tried to step on Jiang Chen's crotch. Before Sun Jiao's foot stepped on Jiang Chen's crotch, he shouted and said that he would give 10 cans of food per month. Sung Jiao smiled and did not step on Jiang Chen's crotch. Jiang Chen asked to be untied because they were already working together. Then Sung Jiao untied Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen felt that he had been tied up for too long, so his hands felt like they were numb. From now on, Sung Jiao will keep Jiang Chen safe, because if Jiang Chen dies, who will pay for it? Jiang Chen says if he doesn't die in Sung Jiao's hands, he'll be happy. Jiang Chen invites Sung Jiao to leave this place, but Sung Jiao wants this place to be their meeting point for now. He told Jiang Chen not to worry because this is the safest place for now. This is the city of Manhwa in 2019. The streets are filled with zombies and strange creatures. There are unimaginable ruins in every place. Jiang Chen felt that he shouldn't be here. He could be here because he traveled through time. It's just like a time travel show, but he didn't go to the past, but to a planet that exists in a parallel universe to Earth. Jiang Chen never thought before that he could have a very extraordinary ability to travel through time. Why he could have that power started a few months ago. In June 2017, a flash of green light came to Earth. At that time, Jiang Chen was on the phone with his mother. His mother asked how Jiang Chen was doing. Jiang Chen replied that he was fine, but his mother felt he was lying. His mother felt that he was calling to ask for more money. And it was true what his mother said. Jiang Chen ran out of pocket money, and he asked for money for the last time. He promised to return it when he got a good job. His mother was very upset. Jiang Chen had been almost a year ago, but still asked her for money. Jiang Chen tried to explain to his mother that it takes time to get a job. His mother then compared him to his cousin, and said that his cousin was already working at a high-tech company after graduation, and he was even paid an annual salary. Her mother tells Jiang Chen to go home because living in the big city is not easy. If he didn't make it, his father could get him a job on a pig farm. But Jiang Chen turned it down because he wasn't interested in breeding pigs. In a very angry tone of voice, Jiang Chen's mother said that there was nothing wrong with breeding pigs. She could have money, raise him and pay for his schooling because of pig breeding. His mother said that Jiang Chen should be grateful. Then Jiang Chen said he had some things to do and turned off his mother's phone. Jiang Chen took a can of soda from his pocket and drank it while lamenting his bad luck. He had graduated in a year, but still didn't have a proper job. While drunk, Jiang Chen saw a shooting star. Legend has it that a shooting star will make wishes come true. Jiang prayed he asked to have a good job. He would take his job seriously and work hard. While drunk, he prayed for things that made no sense. Then he laughed very loudly. Suddenly, Jiang Chen saw the shooting star turning towards him, and he panicked. The star crashed into Jiang Chen and caused a huge explosion. That was the beginning of Jiang Chen's superpower story. The superpower made a tattoo mark on Jiang Chen's hand and gave Jiang Chen the power of multiverse travel. Jiang Chen realized that after absorbing about 100 kilowatts of electric power, the distance between the tattoos around the wrist was like a pattern that would be full. And the conditions for multiverse travel would be needed. He also found an addition to let him travel to other worlds. The tattoo also contained an independent subspace. Simply put, it meant a storage dimension of approximately 1 cubic meter in size. Jiang Chen tried his powers for the first time, and it was the first multiverse trip that brought him to an empty house. No one seems to visit old houses at this age. There was a newspaper, so Jiang read it to find information. It turned out to be the year 2190. He was still in the city of Wanghai, China. But this is different from the city of Wanghai where he came from. No one expected that there would be so many events during these few years. Then Jiang Chen looked around him. When he looked at the window, he felt that there was a horrible creature. Jiang Chen felt that the place was too dangerous, so he planned to return. When Jiang Chen looked at his hand, the tattoo disappeared after one trip. Then Jiang Chen tried to recharge it. When Jiang Chen wanted to recharge, he was electrocuted instead. Jiang Chen looks upset. There might be something valuable in that world. He needed to go back one more time. But he would get into trouble if he left without making a plan. When he got home, Jiang Chen immediately bought some groceries that were enough for 3 days. He didn't plan to be there longer, but he still had to be on guard. Jiang Chen landed in the parallel world for the second time, and the landing was perfect. He was in the center of a city that had been destroyed, and there were no residents. He also didn't see any zombies. It seemed that zombies didn't come out during the day. Jiang Chen had to be very careful. After all, he still didn't know anything about this world. Jiang Chen first had to find a safe point as a reference point. Then Jiang Chen found an abandoned house surrounded by high walls and fences, and the house seemed suitable as a base. He also tried to enter, but the door was locked. Then Jiang Chen tried to enter through the window. Jiang Chen looked around and there seemed to be no one there. Suddenly someone grabbed his leg and asked for help. Jiang Chen was very surprised and kicked him. It turned out that the one who was kicked was Sun Jiao. Sun Jiao was very upset with Jiang Chen and was going to kill him. Jiang Chen also asked what happened to Sun Jiao and Jiang Chen would help him. Sun Jiao said that she needed water. Then Jiang Chen looked for water in his bag. Fortunately, he brought extra water so that he could give it to Sun Jiao. Then Jiang Chen gave the water to Sun Jiao. Jiang Chen asked how she was doing now. Sun Jiao replied that she was starving. Then Jiang Chen looked for canned food that he carried in his bag to give to Sun Jiao. Jiang Chen wondered why Sun Jiao called him crazy, whether hunger had reached his head. Jiang Chen said that Sun Jiao wasn't crazy and not to say that to herself. Then Jiang Chen fed the canned food to Sun Jiao. First, Jiang Chen thought Sun Jiao would offer his heart, but he never thought that the one he was helping was a vile and ungrateful moneyman. This was exactly like the case of Mr. Donggu, the wolf, the farmer, and the snake. What happened next was exactly what he had seen before. And luckily Sun Jiao still had his own conscience. If he had really bumped into a scum like a slave trader or a Kabbalist, it was very likely that Jiang Chen would have been made into a dumpling by now. Danger lurked everywhere. The good thing was that he managed to make a chance with Sun Jiao. Then Sun Jiao asked how Jiang Chen had brought the food supplies here. Jiang Chen said his parents had a way to do that, and Sun Jiao didn't need to worry. Jiang Chen looked at the painting that was there. He thought the painting could be worth millions, but this great painter didn't even exist. Bringing them back home to exchange for money was obviously impossible. Then Jiang Chen looked at the tools on the floor. He said that these tools were all high-tech. While Sun Jiao was busy with the door, Jiang Chen asked about the tools. Sun Jiao then explained that all electronic devices could not be used after a nuclear explosion. But if Jiang Chen could remove some parts and exchange them for something useful at some survivor base. Since these devices existed before, it meant that there must be people who could make them again. If he exchanged it for food, there must be many geniuses in this world who would fight each other to work for Jiang Chen. However, in this post-apocalypse world, this complicated skill is useless. These low physical technologies were only exempt from living in the slums because they had geniuses who were great at producing military weapons and other high technologies working for them. Xu Zhao said if he was going to be honest, there's not much point in strengthening the structure of this building. As long as our voices aren't loud, those brainless zombies won't find a way in. There are no strong mutants in this area. Doing this is a waste of time and effort. Jiang Chen wasn't on guard against zombies. He understood to leave the strange creatures alone. They wouldn't come out onto the streets to bother him. But Jiang Chen was on guard against intruders. He was afraid that some intruders would come and kill him while he was asleep. They would wander around the city for a while. This place would be their supply point. No one would care to enter a building like this that had obviously been searched. Jiang Chen asked if Sun Jiao had a map of the city. Sun Jiao then asked for the name of the apaid, and he would send it through apaid. Jiang Chen was confused about what apaid was. Sun Jiao felt that Jiang Chen didn't have an apaid. Sun Jiao didn't understand Jiang Chen. He dared to explore the city without an EP. She wasn't afraid of her body being exposed to excessive radiation. Then Sun Jiao gave his EP to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen asked where he got it, and Sun Jiao replied that he got it from the corpse of an unlucky man. When Jiang Chen used the EP, a green screen appeared containing information about him. It turns out that none of Jiang Chen's abilities exceed the number 20. Sun Jiao then mocked Jiang Chen and asked if he was really a man. Jiang Chen challenged Sun Jiao. Sun Jiao took his gun and prepared to shoot Jiang Chen. He also said that his woman was standing in front of him. Why didn't Jiang Chen try it? The power in Jiang Chen's body was also very excited and eager to try. But after seeing Sun Jiao holding a gun, he was immediately afraid. Jiang Chen felt that Sun Jiao was too dangerous. He would rather enjoy such activities in the modern world. With money, getting women was not a problem. Suddenly Jiang Chen remembered the old woman who had fired him, and he looked upset. Sun Jiao asked what was wrong with Jiang Chen, why he was suddenly silent. Jiang Chen was shocked to see what was in front of his eyes, and he said he just remembered something from his past. Sun Jiao felt there was no point in mentioning his meal ticket. With him here, Sun Jiao didn't have to worry about starving anymore, and she could eat good food. Sun Jiao also felt that Jiang Chen seemed like a nice guy. Even though nice guys were just a joke in this desert, Jiang Chen was afraid to look at Sun Jiao because his laugh looked creepy. Sun Jiao was upset whether he thought he was unattractive when he laughed. Jiang Chen was confused whether he should answer yes or no. Jiang Chen felt that this parallel world was full of treasures. Any simple civilian equipment here could easily defeat all the prototypes lying in science laboratories in the modern world. But it was impractical to bring these high-tech tools directly and resell them. So Jiang Chen needed the gold from this place. Sun Jiao looked surprised to hear Jiang Chen wanted gold. According to Jiang Chen, in this messy post-apocalypse world, gold shouldn't have a price. In a place where everyone was starving, none of them in their right mind would trade food for that shiny treasure. But in this case, it would be the only thing that was valuable and could be cashed in. Sun Jiao was curious what it would be. But Jiang Chen didn't want to tell her, and Sun Jiao didn't need to know too much. With an annoyed face, Sun Jiao wouldn't ask if Jiang Chen wouldn't tell her. Then Jiang Chen gave the bread and was quickly taken by Sun Jiao. He also asked what Jiang Chen wanted. Jiang Chen didn't want anything. Instead, Sun Jiao said she wanted Jiang Chen to take care of the food. Jiang Chen wasn't that depressed to want to make love to someone who might chew his bird. Breakfast, 3 meals a day, but it seemed like she preferred to eat out. Then Jiang Chen gave her canned food. Sun Jiao had already seen outlaws kill their own kind for food in this desert. She met cannibal bandits who tried to make her double-cooked pork. And Jiang Chen was the first man she met who was worried about her starving. Jiang Chen said that Sun Jiao would have stomach problems if she didn't have breakfast. He explained that eating something in the morning would make her more energetic anyway. Jiang Chen almost forgot that this was a post-apocalypse world. Sun Jiao looked sheepish and thanks Jiang Chen. He would also try hard to get the gold in the bank vault, but moving it here would be harder than finding it. The EMP from the nuclear war has destroyed most of the electronics in the city. All the cars on the streets have been turned into chunks of iron. The more advanced technology was damaged more severely. Unless Sun Jiao got an expert to do the repairs, there was no way he could find a working car here. Sun Jiao seemed very serious, so Jiang Chen tried to lighten the mood. He told Sun Jiao to just focus on the investigation. Jiang Chen needed to know the environment, the degree of danger, and the exact location of the gold, and he told Sun Jiao to come back before dark. Sun Jiao said that zombies are smarter when the sun goes down. Then Sun Jiao prepared all the equipment he needed, such as flashlights, weapons, food, and protective clothing. When Sun Jiao was about to leave, Jiang Chen asked about Sun Jiao's EMP status. After Sun Jiao showed his EMP status, he immediately left. Jiang Chen was surprised to see Sun Jiao's EMP status. He thought Sun Jiao was not human. Jiang Chen returned to his world. He finally arrived at his room and immediately lay down on his bed. When he saw his bracelet, it was time to recharge. Then Jiang Chen woke up and thought, if he recharged in the usual way, he would need a very long time to get full power back. If Sun Jiao came back and found her missing, it would definitely be a problem. To complete the recharge as quickly as possible, he had to charge the electricity from here. Excitedly, Jiang Chen began to charge. As a result of Jiang Chen's recharge, all the electricity in the area went out, and all the people there were very angry about it. Then Jiang Chen ran away from there because he had finished charging. He went back to his room. He thought about how to solve the charging problem. He needed to find someone to modify the circuit, but it would be difficult to explain the power consumption. He would be in trouble if he attracted the attention of experts. Would he have to live somewhere else, or rent a warehouse that could support high current output? Jiang Chen thought it would be better if there was something else to replace electricity as a power source. Jiang Chen looked at the information on his EP screen. The information on the screen was when the radiation level exceeds the threshold of 50. The user's health will be affected. It is recommended that some iodine be stored in the EP to control the radiation level in the user's body. Jiang Chen thought about the meaning of what about some iodine level. Then he found the answer. Man is iron, food is steel. A day without eating is not his deal. Then Jiang Chen rushed to eat. Jiang Chen cooked some food. The recipes he learned in the Oriental chef class came to fruition, and he immediately ate. While eating, Jiang Chen thought, he wondered how many kilos or tons of gold could be exchanged for this food in the post-apocalypse world. Even just holding a can of food in Looting City would probably attract many beautiful women. Jiang Chen was very happy at the thought. He thanked the gods so he wouldn't live in that shithole. But if the Third World War broke out in this world, a useless graduate like him would probably die on the corner. Jiang Chen tried to stop thinking about nonsense and tried to focus for now. Jiang Chen rechecked the items he would take with him before leaving for the post-apocalypse world. After everything was ready and complete, Jiang Chen left. But Jiang Chen shorted something and went straight to the refrigerator to get some food just in case. Then he set off. Jiang Chen finally arrived at his base in the post-apocalypse world. Then Jiang Chen walked out of the room. While resting on a chair, Jiang Chen checked the tattoo on his hand. It turned out that the power he used for today's activities was not too much, not even half. His weight has not changed, perhaps because the storage capacity has increased. Maybe the maximum capacity increases with the number of refills. Jiang Chen felt that it wasn't important and left it like that because he had no other ideas. He went into a room and saw an object in front of him. He thought about how to run this bed that looked like a power distribution cabinet. Jiang tried to pull the lever and turned on the electricity there, so that the electronic items there are also lit. Jiang Chen was amazed to see the objects that were there. It turns out that this is high technology. Jiang Chen felt that living in the post-apocalypse world was not bad, and he heard a sound from outside the window. He also checked what was there using binoculars. It turned out to be Sun Jiao. He didn't take long. It seemed like he got something. Sun Jiao was trying to climb over the tall iron fence. After making it through, Jiang Chen then pressed the bell button of his headquarters. Sun Jiao was surprised to find that the door had been repaired, so he fell down because the door was open. She was furious with Jiang Chen and hit him, like he was trying to kill her. Jiang Chen then apologized because he didn't mean to. Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen that it was exhausting. The bank was full of zombies. It took him 2 batteries of ammo to clear them all out. The bank vault was covered with a thick layer of steel. He couldn't open it, but he got these gold bars from the VIP room. Sun Jiao threw the bag containing the gold bar. When caught, it was very heavy. Jiang Chen couldn't believe that Sun Jiao had brought all this back here because it was so heavy. He took a can of soda from his pocket and gave it to Sun Jiao. Then he grabbed it. Sun Jiao immediately tried the soda and Jiang Chen thought it looked like Sun Jiao liked the soda. Sun Jiao asked if the drink was still cold and Jiang Chen replied that the fridge here was actually still working. Sun Jiao feels that Jiang Chen won't tell her where he got this drink, even if she tells him. Then Sun Jiao asks what they're going to do next. Sun Jiao feared they would still need an expert if they wanted to blow the safe wide open and transfer the gold here. At very least, they would need some powerful explosives, or a highly skilled hacker, to open the electronic lock. Jiang Chen felt that Sun Jiao was joking. How could he find explosives in a good hacker? Sun Jiao said most survivor bases had them. Take Looting City, for example. Jiang Chen asked if it was far from here, and Sun Jiao replied that the place was a little interesting, considering where we are now, but a little expensive. Then Jiang Chen asked what he meant by that. Sun Jiao explained that apart from residents with wealth and jobs who had sold their freedom, visitors had to pay 1 unit of crystal energy, or an item of equivalent value to enter. Then Sun Jiao took something out of his melon slit, and that item was a crystal. This piece of crystal had 37 units of energy left. Jiang Chen could check it using EP. It wasn't easy to obtain this item. Only great mutants were able to crystallize it in the back of their heads. If possible, Sun Jiao would really rather never cross paths with them again. Then Sun Jiao showed the crystal to Jiang Chen. He also asked 1 unit of energy of this crystal. What good is it? When Jiang Chen held the crystal, green light came out. 1 for 10 boxes of canned food or half a box of bad canned food. 10 canisters of nutrition ingredients, 1 Type-C battery, or 3 clips of weapon energy. There were many things that could be exchanged for it. Jiang Chen felt that the crystal energy was like recharging his tattoo. Sun Jiao explained that this type of energy source could be used as currency in many bases. He could even get women from Looting City to spend the night with him. Then Jiang Chen made an offer with Sun Jiao. 37 units of crystal energy would be exchanged for 4 cans of food. Sun Jiao immediately agreed to the offer made by Jiang Chen. Sun Jiao understood that Jiang Chen had a lot of food, but exchanging it like that would definitely cost him. If he traded this with others, they would take advantage of him. Although 10 units of energy was worth a can of food, it also depended on the food. The canned food in Looting City was mostly mutant fish meat. Even that also had sand mixed in. It could even be human meat. chicken curry, and beef stew. This was the first time in Sun Joe's life that he had tasted good food. Jiang Chen looked incredulous at Sun Joe's words. He told Jiang Chen that the merchants here were using the mutant cow to make food. Sun Joe was happy to have food with mutant cow meat. Although the texture was dry, it was enough to make him feel very satisfied. After hearing Sun Joe's words, Jiang Chen believed him. It turned out that the world wasn't as easy as Jiang Chen thought. He was very weak if he knew his wealth. Jiang Chen thought that gold was enough. Should he stop now? Jiang Chen looked quite panicked. Without realizing it, Jiang Chen could become canned food if he stayed in the post-apocalypse world, or mutate due to radiation and lie weightless on the streets. Sun Joe asked what was wrong with Jiang Chen. What's got him so agitated? Jiang Chen replied that he was fine. Jiang Chen was just thinking about how to adjust the agreement structure according to Sun Joe's price here. While there was plenty of food where Jiang Chen lived, it wasn't as brutal as here, so he trusted Sun Joe. Sun Joe also said that since Jiang Chen was his employer, in addition to guaranteeing his safety, he thought he also had a responsibility to keep Jiang Chen from being cheated by people with ulterior motives. How could he go after her if someone was after Jiang Chen's wealth? That's also a problem for him. He would have to take her with him if Jiang Chen wanted to trade with others in the future. With an innocent face, Jiang Chen wondered if Sun Joe was warming up to him. Forget it, less trouble is better. Jiang Chen is lying now just to avoid unnecessary trouble. Sun Joe says don't look at him like that, he gives her the creeps. Then Jiang Chen shows Jiang Chen the fridge. When she opened it, Sun Joe was thrilled to see the contents. She couldn't believe how the fridge could be so full of food. Jiang Chen said that the fridge was still working. Then Jiang Chen said enough with the canned food. Let's eat something fresh, mini mala, to celebrate his first employee. Jiang Chen asked Sun Joe not to act like that. Hold your tongue. He understood Sun Joe must have a lot of questions. We can talk about it while we eat now. Sun Joe picks up a tomato. Then Jiang Chen asks if he knows how to cut a tomato. Jiang Chen says, we'll have tomato fried eggs tonight, although they live in poverty. People mentioned a long time ago. Sun Joe had his parents and sweet sister by his side. Compared to the years of nuclear winter outside the shelter, the living environment inside was definitely a paradise. She just found out that many mercenary groups specifically targeted newly opened shelters with weak defenses as targets. They took advantage of the kindness of people who had just left the shelter and robbed them of their survival supplies and decimated their population. And since that incident, Sun Joe gradually grew up and became a qualified desert survivor. Jiang Chen told Sun Joe to be a little slow in cutting the tomatoes. If it was too fast, he would cut the harvest. Jiang Chen asked when was the last time Sun Joe cooked. Every single ingredient was the result of hard work. Sun Joe should be gentle with them. While cooking, Jiang Chen said Sun Joe should put her heart and soul into every process. Then they will reward you with delicious dishes. Sun Joe was very eager to eat the food cooked by Jiang Chen. He was sure that no one in the desert had ever eaten what he called food. Jiang Chen knew that Sun Joe had many questions on his mind, like why Jiang Chen had so much food. But Sun Joe couldn't explain what he felt now. It felt like Jiang Chen had come straight from a fairy tale. Jiang Chen didn't understand what Sun Joe meant by fairyland, the book that existed before the war. In the shelter they called it a fairy tale. Everyone lives happily, has family, friends, and even lovers. How is that not a fairy tale? According to Jiang Chen, this post-apocalypse world is very interesting. Then Jiang Chen stood up and took something. When he returned, it turned out that Jiang Chen was carrying several cans of beer. He said back home when they felt tired they would drink a little. Jiang Chen put the beer cans on the table, then Sun Joe took one and drank it. When he tried to drink it, Sun Joe didn't seem to like it much, saying it didn't taste as good as soda. Jiang Chen also drank the beer. He said that this drink would help Sun Joe get everything out. Jiang Chen said it was good. Sun Joe felt that 2 sips hadn't quite hit the mark, so they drank the next can of beer. Sun Joe said they would drink themselves to sleep. Jiang Chen and Sun Joe were already very drunk as they had drunk many cans of beer. While drunk, Jiang Chen said the monsters Sun Joe talked about earlier didn't exist. Then Sun Joe said, "Stop talking nonsense." Sun Joe better believe where Jiang Chen is, they have the kind of monsters called graduation. It's simply the devil for students. It not only swallows up the carefree life of college students and the monthly fees given by parents. but it also forced them to go to an unknown city to fight. Jiang Chen continued that their shoulders should carry dreams, hard work, and buffs. Sun Jiao asked what the buff was. Then Jiang Chen replied that buff was like the reinforcement Sun Jiao had here. That's not important, let Jiang Chen talk until he's done. Then he should be able to enter the company and earn a living. Work and his superiors will all come and torment him. Sun Jiao thought it was nothing. With his physical statistics, who would dare to torture him, and Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen to look at his EP. Sun Jiao tried to open the EP but couldn't. It turned out that what he was holding was Jiang Chen's shoes instead of his EP. Then Sun Jiao strangled Jiang Chen because he dared to take his stuff. Because he couldn't breathe for too long, Jiang Chen immediately slammed Sun Jiao forward. And he said that today, Jiang Chen would show him who was the real boss. Sun Jiao looked shy and said what Jiang Chen said. Sun Jiao turned Jiang Chen around. He said he wanted to be on top. Jiang Chen wondered why Sun Jiao had so much strength. Even the chicken power was afraid to see Sun Jiao. Then Sun Jiao held the chicken power tightly and played with it. He said that little chicks were cute, and the chicken power was annoyed to be called little chicks. Then the chicken power instantly turned into a very big and very strong chicken. Then the chicken power said that Sun Jiao really made her angry. He would show Sun Jiao what he was really made of. Sun Jiao was amazed and said it was amazing. Finally, Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao slept together. Chicken power looked very exhausted, because he did 10 fights in 4 hours and had used up 20 years of energy. Jiang Chen apologized to Sun Jiao and he would take responsibility. Sun Jiao says Jiang Chen won't say any intimate words like he will marry her or protect her forever. He says it's written like in that old book, reminiscing about the past. She says that she's not easy to feed, but Jiang Chen replies that he can feed her. Sun Jiao says he has many enemies and Jiang Chen is not afraid. Sun Jiao still has things to do and Jiang Chen will help her. Jiang Chen wants Sun Jiao to trust him. Then they kissed. Sun Jiao said what else was Jiang Chen waiting for? He asked Sun Jiao to feed him now. The chicken power was very panicked by Sun Jiao's words, and they fought back. The next day the chicken power was very tired. Finally, he could survive until the end. Jiang Chen said that last night's activities made him dizzy and his legs swayed. He needs to rest. Sun Jiao asks Jiang Chen to stop bullshitting. Is he even a man? Sun Jiao asks Jiang Chen to catch up with her immediately. Jiang Chen says that women will never understand a man's fatigue. Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen to be careful because danger lurked everywhere and asked Jiang Chen to stay close to her. Jiang Chen looked up at the sky. He asked if it was going to rain. Sun Jiao explained that it wasn't clouds, it was radiation dust. Jiang Chen looks scared and says that means they're walking into radiation with no protection at all. Sun Jiao tells Jiang Chen not to worry. As long as there was iodine in his EP, the radiation level wouldn't exceed the threshold. So there was no need to worry about growing a third hand. Of course, if he passed through high radiation areas, such as nuclear reactors or former government institutions, it was better to wear protective clothing. Jiang Chen looked upset. He wouldn't be out here if it wasn't for Sun Jiao's bad idea. Sun Jiao says if Jiang Chen has promised to help him, he should learn a thing or two about fighting. Come with him tomorrow. At least learn how to shoot to protect yourself. Jiang Chen felt being a reserve was more suitable for him. Annoyed, Sun Jiao told him to shut up. They were going to the 6th Street Survival Camp tomorrow. Jiang Chen hadn't even been vaccinated yet. That was just asking for trouble. Suddenly Sun Jiao asked Jiang Chen to stop. Sun Jiao then took the gun on his back. He said they would pass through the zombie-infested area ahead. Jiang Chen looked panicked at this. According to him, the best place to hone your shooting skills is the field. SK-10 Sirius, short to medium-range laser rifle. The best choice when going to deal with zombies. But since Jiang Chen has never shot, it's best to start with kinetic weapons to get him used to shooting. PK-200 assault rifle, caliber 7.26/mm. Although kinetic weapons are not very accurate, their power and reliability are unmatched by any laser weapon. He can even use it as a lighter without a problem. The safety is located on the upper right side of the handle. Make sure the safety is on when he has no intention of firing. Then Sun Jiao asked Jiang Chen to keep moving. Jiang Chen was worried if the mutants didn't attack them, but Sun Jiao said it would be okay not to worry. Not all creatures are aggressive, like rats for example. Despite their large size, physiologically, their innate fear of humans still remains. Zombies cease all activity during daylight hours, as the mutant cells attached to the back of their heads require a stable environment to photosynthesize. While cockroaches look scary due to their diet, they will not attack living creatures. They usually eat zombies and other lowly mutants, but of course, they are not picky eaters when humans come along. What they need to be wary of are carnivores. Finally, if someone is aiming for the head, don't hesitate to shoot directly. Jiang Chen seemed to regret being in the post-apocalypse world. According to him, this world is too dangerous. Even surviving is not easy. Sun Jiao checked around and something seemed to be wrong. All the mutants around had slowly disappeared. It seemed like something stronger was around. Jiang Chen looked panicked and Sun Jiao explained something about how some carnivores had heard of the claws of death. When Jiang Chen asked about the claws of death, there was a huge explosion. Then Sun Jiao went straight to the direction of the explosion and said there was a battle ahead and told Jiang Chen to follow him. Jiang Chen asked if Sun Jiao was sure it wasn't the wrong direction. Jiang Chen said that being with an inquisitive woman would get her into trouble sooner or later. Someone ordered to maintain fire and throw explosives, and he needed ammunition immediately. It turned out that there was a huge zombie in front of them, so they kept shooting at the zombie. The zombie surrendered to one of them, and he bounced quite far away. Sun Jiao watched from a distance. He said that the zombie in front of him was a mountain of flesh. He wondered why this creature had appeared here. And Jiang Chen looks terrified after seeing the zombie. They keep giving up the zombie, but the zombie seems to be quite strong. One of them orders to shoot now. They can't hold back any longer. The zombie was wounded by the zombie's attack, but the shot missed and only wounded his hand. The zombie seemed to get even angrier when his hand was injured. A very large gun was seen preparing to shoot the zombie. The zombie froze when it saw the weapon. Then the gun immediately shot the zombie to destruction, and the zombie finally fell and died. A mountain of flesh is a curse for almost all individual weapons, and the bad habit of throwing things was a nightmare. The anti-tank cannon was more or less the only thing that could kill the big zombie. Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao what they were doing. Sun Jiao then explained that they were collecting crystals. In addition, meat mountains can be used as fertilizer or organic, and phospholipids in nutrient solutions. With an incredulous face, Jiang Chen wondered why his name was Nutrient Solution. It sounded like food. He vowed never to touch the nutrient solution. They hurried and didn't want to waste any time. A soldier saw them and rushed over. He told Sun Jiao to show his gene code. A gene code is a code composed of gene sequences that are calculated based on specific algorithms and used as the ID of the EP user. Many survival camps had law and order places that would conduct gene checks before granting access. The purpose was to catch criminals who violated the camp's laws. After the soldiers checked Sun Jiao's EP, they were immediately let in. Jiang Chen thought that Gurung was full of cruelty, but he had just witnessed a sign of civilization. But Sun Jiao thought otherwise. He thought that civilization was everywhere in the land, only more precisely it was a unique form. Civilization is the accumulation of wealth, discovery, and creation from the beginning. It is how many on the road of human teaching, accepted and recognized by many humans, and means to help humans better adapt to and understand the purpose of the world. Then, civilization does not exist here. It's just that it has developed somewhat abnormally. The level of technology on the 6 roads, it had to be summarized in one word. It was disproportionate. He could see soldiers carrying weapons, looking at the sky with cigarettes in their mouths. And he could also see merchants counting goods on holographic computers. People with missing limbs were a common sight. Some of them used canes while others were equipped with prostheses that were more agile than real legs. If the standard of living on Street 6 had to be summarized in one word, it would also be disproportionate. Men and women looked like ubiquitous bags of bones. Even the little energy to cry for help was lost to hunger. Sun Jiao also explained that absolute neutrality was the basis of the 6 paths operation in this desert. And the law is very simple here. Murderers and thieves would be shot. Tax fraud will be expelled. Willful crimes will go to jail. Jiang Chen saw someone and said what he was doing and told him to stop. It turned out that the person was beating a hungry beggar. Sun Jiao advised Jiang Chen to keep his mouth shut, to avoid unnecessary trouble. Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao why the man wasn't shot. It's like the inspector in charge of cleaning up corpses in the slums. Some Joe asked Jiang Chen to get out of there. Jiang Chen says the man clearly looks alive and Some Joe orders him to leave immediately and to get used to it. Some Joe explains that the inside of 6th Street is cleaner, but it costs 1 crystal unit to enter. Since we're just here to exchange some useful items, the outside market is enough. Although the outer market was covered in pollution, it was still better than the slums. Thieves or amateur criminals who are shot dead will have their bodies thrown directly next to the trash can. In the evening, the inspectors would drag their bodies to the farm and mix them together with the large zombies previously collected in the camp, turning them into fertilizer. Some of the lesser-known master thieves would be coated in formaldehyde and nailed to wood. According to Jiang Chen, this is a crazy civilization. Women were seen being sold and offered 30 crystals. The salesman said their faces, bodies, and melons were unusually good. He guaranteed the women were high-quality goods. He told the buyer to look in detail. There was absolutely no problem with the women. He priced 50 crystals, and he couldn't lower the price anymore. The buyer bargained with the maximum price he could for 40 crystals. The seller was visibly upset. Business was getting tougher since the manufacturers had set up a bargaining program for robots. Then the seller agreed to the price of 40 crystals. After the payment process was completed, the buyer immediately took the women and said to bring the same high-quality goods next time, and don't forget to give a discount. The salesman said of course and have a good day. Then the women were put into a truck and they left. Some Zhao said the New Ray Hotel. Jiang Chen didn't understand what the New Ray Hotel meant. The New Ray Hotel was a brothel. That one guarantees everything, including service for guests. That meant in that place, female slaves were expendable to satisfy all kinds of disgusting demands. Some Jia said he'd heard this guy bragging once in Leading City about how gentle the women of the New Ray Hotel were. Very annoyed, Sun Zhou said soft was just a look. As for that slave trader, he's probably from the army that seized Shelter 101. Jiang Chen asked, so what exactly is Shelter? Some Zhou explained that it was something rather strange. Each shelter had its own unique design philosophy, but with the same goal of achieving maximum survival rate. Some Zhou was born in Shelter 071, which, when he thought about it, was a lucky thing. The design philosophy there was to have a fixed procedure and standardize people's behavior, so even though their lives were hard, at least they were happy. But some shelters were not as lucky as Some Zhou's shelter. Some Zhou heard that the design philosophy of Shelter 070 is to rule man by man and motivate people to continue to survive until creating a spiritual leader. The designer was stupid before the war. Shelter turned into hell less than 10 years after the lockdown. The virtue model made civility civilized and became a tribal leader. It seems that he used security procedures to get rid of all men, leaving only women and using them as sex slaves. Some Zhao continued, for Shelter 101 he thought the shelter lacked humans. Jiang Chen asked if it was devoid of people, why was it still a shelter? Some Zhao then explained that the place stored the DNA of the upper class from all over the world. At the end of the lockdown period, the embryo breeding tank activates. A perfect body was born, then incorporated decades' worth of memories in a short period of time using the visual system. God knows what use the products coming out of the breeding house will be. Perhaps before the war the designer predicted that it would be very popular in this desert. Then Jiang Chen asked if this could be the end of humanity. They finally arrived at the trading place. They met a trading robot. It was a Type 2 crystal-powered robot working on the Six Deserts Road. Its job was to assess the prices of goods that met the needs of the camp. The concept of being annoying was not in its core program. But looking at something that humans put down every day like scrap metal, human skeletons, was really kind of old-fashioned. He priced the item at 5 units of crystal energy. Then the robot saw Jiang Chen and thought he was an honored guest. Jiang Chen presented an item and said he wanted to sell it. The robot was surprised whether the core procedure was broken, because its scanning system told it that this item was completely radiation-free. The perfect quality canned food contained something that humans in the pre-war era called fresh beef. The robot asked if Jiang Chen had more of this product. Jiang Chen said he had plenty of these canned goods. The robot told Jiang Chen to complete the payment in the VIP room. A merchant will serve him. When they arrived at the VIP room, Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou were greeted by a merchant and asked them to go inside. Upon entering, it turned out to be the tea room. The saleswoman glanced at Sun Zhou and when Sun Jiao looked back at the saleswoman, she looked scared. After completing the payment process, they left, and the woman said she was looking forward to their return and had a good day. Sun Jiao looked upset because each can of food that Jiang Chen brought was only priced at 50 crystals. He felt that Jiang Chen had been cheated by the merchant. Jiang Chen tried to calm Sun Jiao down. Sun Jiao said if it wasn't food, it was a luxury item. If they took it to a rich person from the inner circle, they could easily get paid twice as much. Jiang Chen didn't care how much the canned food cost. 1 crystal unit was enough to recharge his tattoo bracelet by 30%. Jiang Chen told Sun Jiao that if he understood, he had already said this about 50 times. Sun Jiao asked if Jiang Chen knew what kind of place the VIP room was. Jiang Chen wondered if it was a place to exchange valuables. Sun Jiao says that Jiang Chen definitely doesn't know that place. Jiang Chen asked what the place was and Sun Jiao told him to come closer and he would tell him. Sun Jiao said it was a place to get special services. Then Jiang Chen was very surprised to hear that. If Sun Jiao hadn't booked her here, he might have given her full service. Sun Jiao says he's ruined the special service that Jiang Chen should have gotten. But Jiang Chen says he prefers Sun Jiao. Suddenly, Sun Jiao says that someone is following him, and tells Jiang Chen not to look at her and pretend like nothing happened. Then Sun Jiao kissed Jiang Chen. No one dared to make trouble here. Sun Jiao had his way of dealing with these rats. He was the boss. They wouldn't notice if Sun Jiao and Jiang Chen pretended to be lovers. Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen not to look back, and took her away from there, then would leave them at the next intersection. Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao enter a clinic. Their Jiang Chen will be injected with type T vaccine to prevent zombie infection. Level C gene enhances the shot, increasing muscle strength, reflexes, and bone strength by 10 to 20 points. The effect will be felt over 3 days gradually. The price is 55 crystals and Jiang Chen is required to pay first. After paying, Jiang Chen was injected with the vaccine. After finishing the vaccine, they left the clinic. Sun Jiao also asked to wait until the effect of the vaccine worked. Jiang Chen asked what they would do next. Sun Jiao said that they would go to the firearms store to reload ammunition. Sun Jiao also said that they would stay here for the night, but the nights here were full of terror, but also full of opportunity. Jiang Chen seemed to be confused about what the opportunity meant. They ended up staying at a hotel. While eating snacks, Jiang Chen asked if Sun Jiao was sure they would be okay doing this. The people who live here are either rich or very rich. If someone enters a room without permission, we can just shoot them without asking why. If that's the case, why don't they get rid of him sooner and continue eating dinner? The person who was tied up and lying on the floor was terrified at their words. Then Sun Jiao prepared a gun and pointed it at his head. The person was very scared and said that Sun Jiao had the wrong person. Then Sun Jiao hit the man with the gun and said that he didn't ask if the person was following him. Sun Jiao asked who sent him here. Jiang Chen felt that the serious Sun Jiao could be scary. To find out what caused this scenario, they had to go back half an hour ago. Little did Jiang Chen know that there was an anti-aircraft cannon mounted on the roof of the hotel in this post-apocalypse world. He needed a few cans of food to overcome the shock, and God knows where Sun Jiao went. He didn't even say goodbye before disappearing. According to Jiang Chen, a woman should be submissive. He should teach her a lesson next time. Suddenly someone was thrown through the window and into Jiang Chen's room. The person said that he really didn't know anything. He felt that this was an illegal punishment, and the 6th Street guards would not let him go because of this. Then Sun Jiao entered through the window and said that he didn't have time for that guy's nonsense. Sun Jiao showed him his clothes and said how could a refugee appear in the prosperous district of 6th Street. The man said that he was just passing by and he really didn't know. Sun Jiao hadn't even asked what the man was doing. He caught him because he saw him sneaking by and it looked like he was right. The man said his name was Lei. Sun Jiao pointed the gun at the baby maker Lei and said that wasn't what he heard. But to speed up his thought process, he would shoot one of his seeds every 10 seconds. Lei still said he didn't really know anything and asked Sun Jiao to let him go. Then Sun Jiao started counting down, and just as he was about to shoot Lei, Jiang Chen called out to Sun Jiao. Jiang Chen doesn't like solving problems with violence. Lei looks relieved and thanks Jiang Chen. But if Li doesn't stop acting, then Jiang Chen wouldn't mind giving Sun Jiao some ideas. Something like inviting the mutant dog over to have dinner with Lei. Jiang Chen was sure it would be a nice dinner. Lei was terrified at Jiang Chen's words. Of course, rather than violence, Jiang Chen would rather make a deal. He was a natural businessman after all. If Lei is willing to cooperate, Jiang Chen will give her the crystal. Of course, Lei can choose to lie to him. But if Jiang Chen is her, then she won't, because obviously her boss will never be as generous as Jiang Chen. Lei immediately said that if the person who told him to do it was Ashes, he was Ash's mercenary corporal. Jiang Chen asks Sun Zhou if he's ever heard that name before. A little human trafficking and exterminating survivors is their main job. On one hand, providing occasional protection services for a group of specialized customers. If Sun Zhou remembered correctly, his corpse was based at the Songjiang Experimental School, taking advantage of the walls there to create a strong defense. Lei explained how it all began. It all started when Jiang Chen entered the pawn shop. Their boss saw the cans of food that Jiang Chen was carrying. Then he said that Jiang Chen was a walking crystal pool. He ordered his subordinates to leave immediately, because they had work to do. He ordered them to go to the back entrance of the trading center. After getting there, his subordinates asked if the boss found a fat sheep. He said it was quite fat, but they would have to wait and see if it was indeed a sheep. A moment later, he said the sheep was coming. It turned out to be Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou. His subordinates said he left the VIP room. He was even served by a celeb merchant, so he must be rich. The boss said to wait a little longer. Maybe he's just a rich kid who came here for life experience. The girl beside him was the problem. She told him to wait a little longer. It wouldn't be fun if they bothered the wrong guy. The man asked his subordinate about an informant. He told his subordinate to go look for him, and not to use any communication devices. He would keep an eye on him here. The man did not care. If he could not act within the limits of the sixth path. Once confirmed, he would let the man be an informant to keep an eye on Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou. The man saw Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou enter the clinic. He waited for a long time until they came out of the clinic. After that, they went straight to the gun shop. The man sees Jiang Chen buying ammunition. He thought he should be careful. Someone came up to the man and said that he had found the informant. Then the man immediately tells Lei to see Jiang Chen's Sun Zhou, who is in the gun shop. He told Lei to keep an eye on them. Tell us immediately when they leave town. The man immediately gave 5 crystal units to Lei to spy on Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou. After that, he left immediately. The subordinate asked the man if he had made sure Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou were sheep that they could snatch. The man said more or less first they got the vaccine injection. Then buy explosives and ammunition at the firearms store. An army with strength, no matter how small, would never trade crystals for ammunition. They had their own way of producing that stuff. So they were probably just fools trying their luck in this desert and somehow got some good stuff. The man looked very eager to catch Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou. He felt he had to catch them quickly or else they would be caught by someone else. Lei told Jiang Chen and Sun Zhou everything. Then Jiang Chen took out a crystal containing 100 energy units. Lei began to imagine if he got the crystal. 1 unit energy crystal can be exchanged for 10 cancel nutritional solution. Although Lei was extravagant in the use of money in this desert, at least he could shop luxuriously for a whole month. As long as Jiang Chen still needs her, she won't be killed. But Jiang Chen pointed his gun at Lei's head and shot her instantly. It was the first time Jiang Chen had shot someone, and he looked like he was scared and still couldn't believe he could kill someone. Sun Zhou says that bloodstains are hard to remove. Seeing Jiang Chen looking scared after killing someone, Sun Zhou said he should leave things like this to Sun Zhou. Jiang Chen said he had to get used to it. Sun Zhou is silent, walks over to Jiang Chen and sits on him. Sun Zhou also says that Jiang Chen will stay right. He says that women are so sensitive. He knows that the Jiang Chen is not here. Sun Zhou said not to leave her alone. Then Jiang Chen says that Sun Zhou doesn't need to worry, because he'll never leave her. Jiang Chen had already decided that night. He admitted that originally his plan was just to get a pile of gold from this place and return to the modern world to live like a millionaire. But it seemed now that there was no way he could completely detach himself from this world. It was impossible for him to go and leave everything behind. He will find a way to bring this post-apocalypse world back to the modern world. According to Jiang Chen, this place of hell is not for humans. Sun Zhou said he believed Jiang Chen. If it weren't for the strong smell of blood, Sun Zhou would really eat it right now. With a flirtatious face, Sun Zhou says he wants to take a shower first. But Jiang Chen wouldn't let her go. So Sun Jiao asked Jiang Chen to take her to the bathroom. He wanted to check for himself if the gene injection had made his muscles stronger. So Jiang Chen took Sun Jiao to the bathroom, and they took a bath together and had fun. After finishing the bath, Sun Jiao said that the injection was not a trick. Jiang Chen was amazed by his body because it was very good and muscular. Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen to stop daydreaming and do his business. Jiang Chen immediately prepared to cook their dinner. But before that, they had to take care of the unlucky man. Jiang Chen panicked a little. Being next to the corpse was too crazy. He needed to control himself next time. They immediately told the hotel workers to dispose of Li's body and clean up the blood. The employee apologized to Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao. He apologized for the disturbance that the hotel security supervisor's negligence had caused them. The waiter offered to take them to the restaurant. On behalf of the hotel, he wanted to invite them to a free dinner. But Sun Jiao refused and asked him to leave immediately. Then the hotel clerk left and apologized. Sun Jiao declined the offer because he wasn't interested in a steak made from mutant cattle. Jiang Chen was busy cooking something for dinner. Sun Jiao just stayed at the door while watching Jiang Chen cook. Jiang Chen felt that Sun Jiao wanted to ask something about the sack of rice that came out of the air. But Sun Jiao said there was no point in asking, nor would Jiang Chen tell him. He said he was too tired and asked for 3 bowls for him to eat. After the food was finished, Sun Jiao looked very happy to see all the food and asked what the names of the food were. Then Jiang Chen explained that it was chicken curry, mapo tofu, and bamboo shoots with pork slices. It was actually just the same food from a can. Sun Jiao looked very eager and happy to eat it. It turned out that the entire pot of rice for him that was supposed to last for 3 days was consumed by both of them in just one sitting. And the problem was that Jiang Chen didn't even feel full, and he felt like the gene injection was really strong. The reason for Sun Jiao's voracious appetite didn't seem to be because she was a foodie. Sun Jiao is annoyed at being stared at like that by Jiang Chen. She says that she is a glutton and loves to eat. Is Jiang Chen scared because of that? Jokingly, Jiang Chen says that he's afraid of her. He's afraid that Sun Jiao will finish her off because he can't feed her. Sun Jiao shyly says that he'll eat a little next time. They'll only eat 1 bowl. It turns out that Jiang Chen was just jokingly saying that, so Sun Jiao gets angry that Jiang Chen is mocking him. Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao were seen holding hands. Jiang Chen tells Sun Jiao not to worry. No matter how much she eats, Jiang Chen can afford it. Sun Jiao looked very happy to hear Jiang Chen's words. Sun Jiao turned around and looked shy. Smiling, Jiang Chen felt lucky that he was good at talking. Otherwise, he would have beaten him up. Sun Jiao says that now that Jiang Chen has been strengthened by gene injection, he won't take it easy on her next time. He'll kick her ass. Jiang Chen looks panicked at Sun Jiao's words, so he says he'll help her clean up. Jiang Chen tells Sun Jiao to go back to bed first, and they will discuss the battle plan later. Sun Jiao was seen looking at the floor plan of the King Pu Commercial Bank building, located in the prosperous district. The zombie density and radiation levels were both very high. Also, the place was haunted by dangerous species. Jiang Chen thought that if they needed to get the gold in the building, they would have to find a way to get in and out of the building by name. Sun Jiao looked annoyed that Jiang Chen didn't seem to be listening to him talk. With a panicked face, Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao something. Jiang Chen asked what the thing that looked like a pen was. Then Sun Jiao explained that it was a holographic computer. Although it's not as reliable as a wrist computer, its performance is far superior. And Sun Jiao said there must be a limit to Jiang Chen's ignorance. Jiang Chen asked again about dangerous species. Dangerous species are like the mountain of bad meat they encountered this morning. Sun Jiao explained in more detail. Claws of death. Crystal index 40 to 50. Fast and agile, sharp sense of smell. The whole body is shielded by extremely dense keratin armor. Normal kinetic bullets cannot deal it any real damage. The best thing to do when encountering this one was to run away immediately, although it was highly unlikely to succeed. Jiang Chen asked if this creature roamed around the commercial bank building. Sun Jiao said this creature roams around whatever place is most exposed to nuclear bomb attacks. But it does wander around sometimes. After all, zombies are its food. Jiang Chen asked if Sun Jiao had any ideas. Sun Jiao told Jiang Chen to make a bet. They had 2 options. First, infiltrate the underground vault through this route and open it with explosives. Second, walk to the main control room via this route. Hack the system to gain authority, then follow the usual route and enter the safe by opening the combination lock. Jiang Chen asked where Sun Jiao got all this information from. Is it reliable? Sun Jiao said it came from Luding City. They have the most complete map data there. It seems that this data was acquired from satellites before the war, so there should be no problem. Jiang Chen said what exactly was this Luding City. He had heard Sun Jiao talk about it many times. Sun Jiao replied that it was an aircraft carrier. Sun Jiao asks Jiang Chen to decide what they're going to do. Jiang Chen thinks the first plan is too dangerous. Blowing up a safe is not a quiet activity. If they attracted all the street zombies, it would be impossible to escape. Sun Jiao confirmed Jiang Chen's words. Daylight did not kill all the zombies' attacking ability. After receiving stimulation, they would still attack. Jiang Chen seemed to want to choose plan number 2. He asked Sun Jiao if he knew a way to hack the system. Sun Jiao said that he could tear up the machine system right in front of Jiang Chen. But that was just Sun Jiao's joke. He had no such skills. Sharpshooting skills were all he needed to survive in this desert. But there were some experts out there, and they were often not in good shape, so it wouldn't cost much to hire one. Jiang Chen asked where they could hire this person. Sun Jiao said here, in the slums of 6th Street. All the people without fighting skills lived there. Finally, Jiang Chen had decided they would get someone to carry out plan number 2. Now Jiang Chen asks Sun Jiao to think if they're missing something. Jiang Chen asks if Sun Jiao isn't worried about the Ash's mercenary corps. Although they're not active here, Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao have killed one of their own. Sun Jiao said not to worry about it. In their eyes, Jiang Chen was a big fat sheep. Jiang Chen confirmed Sun Jiao's words. He had a feeling they'd make their move when Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao left the area, or continue to follow and catch him off guard. Sun Jiao asked if Jiang Chen wanted him to get ready. Then Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao to come closer, and he said they could do this. Sun Jiao felt that if it wasn't bad, it was even worse than him. Sun Jiao asked Jiang Chen to go find the person tomorrow then. It was okay to enter the slums. Paid 1 crystal, and he can choose until he's satisfied. Jiang Chen said it was good to act separately, but you still have to be vigilant when you go. Sun Jiao also understood Jiang Chen's words. He had already defeated many people. Pathetic mercenaries were nothing to him. Not the fact that he was worried about her, no one could stop him from leaving. Jiang Chen also bet that if he left, no one would be able to stop him either. The next day, the weather in this desert was fine but strange. It should be the middle of summer, but sometimes the weather turned very cold like fall had arrived. The dense radiation dust partially blocked the UV rays, making the odd weather here not strange. If the clouds like radiant dust stay around a little longer, it gets even colder. Especially in the morning, the coldness was more pronounced. Jiang Chen seemed to be meeting someone. The person showed Jiang Chen something and asked him what he liked. Jiang Chen also looked at the bios of the people who would be sold. Jiang Chen said that he needed a computer expert, and he gave him the vice president. Mr. Wang then apologized to Jiang Chen, and he tried to find the person Jiang Chen needed. It seems like the boss of the canned food company has a high status in this place. They'll go back and buy the canned food factory when he gets rich. Which also saved him the trouble of erasing the manufacturing date with sandpaper every time. Mr. Wang came in with some sheets of paper containing the information of the people Jiang Chen needed. Mr. Wang said it seemed like producing bullets and stuff didn't require advanced technology. Technicians aren't really in demand here, and Mr. Wang apologized to Jiang Chen. Mr. Wang asks if Jiang Chen is dissatisfied. Jiang Chen says that there are some facts that he really can't believe. Why did Mr. Wang pick all the criminals? Mr. Wang laughed. He said there was nothing he could do about it. Not all refugees here have freedom.